Hello, Patriots. You know, I know the answer to the gun violence problem in the United States. What is it? Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Dr. Ken Henry, and this is Conservative Commentary, where we spread the MAGA message. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. This really helps us continue to grow the channel and get the message out. Now, I had a big, long, beautifully done script that I was going to read for this video, but I want to talk from my heart with you about what I think the solution to the gun violence problem is in the United States. Now, Jen Psaki puts on X I guess they're still called tweet, and when she rails against prayer, the mayor of Minneapolis, after the horrific shooting, such a tragedy, railed against prayer.
And don't just say this is about thoughts and prayers right now. These kids were literally praying.
But the left is coming for your guns. They want to take your guns. We had people talking about the type of guns that were used in the attack when they didn't know what type of guns were used in the attack. It didn't matter. It was a gun. But let me share some facts with you and kind of draw an analogy. We have about 40,000 gun deaths per year in the United States. That's way too many, far too many. But much of that is gang related. It has to do with the drug trades and gang territorial fights. But law-abiding citizens are rarely participants in of gun violence. They may be attacked with a gun or mugged or carjacked with a gun. But here's what I know. So about 40,000 a year gun deaths, gun-related deaths. Guess how many deaths from automobile accidents happened in 2024? About 40,000. But you don't hear the left calling for the abolishment of automobiles, do you? Of those 40,000, about 14 to 18,000, according to the National Transportation Safety Board, were due to drunk drivers. But you don't hear the left calling for a ban on alcohol. What did we learn during Prohibition? It doesn't work. Ladies and gentlemen, if they did away with all gun sales in the United States tomorrow, the criminals would still have guns. And they'd make the cartels in Mexico much wealthier than they already are because they would be doing gun running as well as the drug running. Why in the world would you think that taking guns from law-abiding citizens would make a difference? It wouldn't. But you see, the left and logic sometimes cross paths, usually by accident. Well, okay, and what about red flag laws? The very slippery slope, a dangerous slope. Disgruntled ex-employee says, well, that boss he's trouble, he's danger. Or an ex-girlfriend or an ex-spouse, or in the midst of a divorce and a custody battle. You see, ladies and gentlemen, I've seen it happen. We have red flag laws in Kentucky. People don't call it that. It's domestic violence. If a partner or a spouse accuses the other of domestic violence, the accused must immediately give up all of their firearms and their ammunition without due process. Immediately. And if there's a finding of domestic violence, they don't get their firearm and ammunition back for usually 3 years, sometimes 5. And I'm gonna give you an example from my practice. I had a client. He and his soon-to-be ex, his erstwhile wife, was were in the midst of divorce proceedings. And she came in to his bedroom and seduced him and then accused him of spousal rape. Why would she do that? He was an avid hunter and gun collector, and she knew that. And she knew that if she weaponized the DVO process, domestic violence process, he'd lose his gun. She didn't report this to the police. It's a crime. Domestic or partner spousal rape is a crime in Kentucky, just like rape. She didn't report it to the police. Why? Because she made it up out of whole cloth. But she trotted down to the courthouse and filed a domestic violence complaint against my client. He immediately had to give up his guns, and we had the bad luck of getting a judge who tried a case in front of the Supreme Court, argued a case in front of the Supreme Court, in which he argued that the presence of a lot of ammunition in the home is an indicator that there would be or has been domestic violence, which is totally nonsense. But my guy had a lot of ammunition, and he found that he had committed domestic violence, and my guy lost his weapons for 3 years. And as they left the courthouse, she looked over at him and said, "Gotcha." That's the problem with these red flag laws, writ large. So what is the answer? I submit, ladies and gentlemen, that the answer is in prayer. The exact place the left doesn't want us to go. I submit that if enough good people pray and listen for that small, still voice, the answer will be revealed. What do you think? Please share your thoughts in the comments.